Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, today is the last Friday of the month, which means it's time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with Dr. Gustavo Tolosa, the plant-powered pianist. And today he is going to be making an Argentinian tradition. He actually is coming in live from Argentina. It is a low-fat, vegan potato gnocchi, made with basically just potatoes and tomato sauce. So please welcome him to the show. It's so hard to say gnocchi.
Right, because that sound is not in an English sound. So it's a little gnocchi. You have to go very nasal, gnocchi. Well, thank you, AJ. Again, I always cannot believe how fast this fourth Friday comes because it seems like it was just last week that I did the other one. It's crazy. But anyway, thank you for.
Where did you learn to make gnocchi, and why is it an Argentinian tradition?
Yes. Well, I will tell all about that. My grandmother used to make it once a month. And then in a lot of restaurants in Argentina, the 29th of the month, you will always find gnocchi in the menu. I'll tell you a little bit more about the tradition while I'm making it that way, while I'm doing some, when I'm making the gnocchi, I have something to tell people. But this is what I want to tell everybody. This is a type of pasta that if we translate it to English, it would be something like potato dumplings, but it's called gnocchi. And this word, it seems that it comes from an Italian word nocca, which means knuckles, because gnocchi have little pieces. Actually, they look like knuckles. And so for me, that I love potatoes, this is one of this type of pasta is the closest thing to heaven. Being in Argentina, which is like the Italy of South America, and so Argentina had about almost 50% Italians in the 1920s and 40s. A huge number of Italians came, and then about 35% from Spain. So we could say that Argentina is the Italy and Spain of South America. And I am part Italian. And so pasta in general was a big part of my life as I was growing up. And in some ways, it still is, telling an Italian to not eat pasta is kind of like telling a Mexican to never eat a taco, or a Chinese to not eat rice. I don't know, what would we say to an American? What would be an American type of?
Don't eat a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger, yeah. So it's ingrained almost in the DNA of an Italian to eat pasta. But since I became whole food plant-based about 10 years ago, I have enjoyed zucchini noodles, which I think they're as close to regular noodles as you can get. I love them. So the spaghetti squash noodles are incredible. So I make that. I also make risotto, but I make it with oat groats. I cook it really slowly, and so they come out so creamy that to me it's like risotto with all the wonderful mushrooms and the sauce, etc. I also make polenta, which is a recipe from my grandmother, and is baked with tomato sauce. So, and then of course I have here, AJ, your book, okay? And on page 64, you have your disappearing lasagna, which I make, once a year about. maybe last year I didn't make it for some reason, but it's something we all know that there are foods that are a little bit higher in the fat content or the calorie content. It's still whole food and plant-based. It's just a little bit higher, and we save those meals for special special events or times. I don't eat pasta, regularly, but I cannot imagine not ever eating any pasta. So, and then I also make some meatballs that are made with eggplant, and so those are really delicious with the sauce and the zucchini noodles or things like that. And but gnocchi really brings some fond memories of childhood from my childhood and from my dear grandmother Aurora. And so the 29th of each month, that would be Monday, if you were in Argentina, you would see a lot of gnocchi everywhere. Okay, so it's a tradition, and I will explain it in just a minute. I want to tell everybody that the traditional way of making gnocchi is with potato, regular white flour, or semolina, and some people use 1 egg, okay, for like 2 pounds of potatoes. Today, obviously, we're not going to use any eggs or cheese or anything like that. And I will show you how to make it, how to make gnocchi with whole wheat white flour, which is not bleached. Whole wheat white flour is really whole wheat flour, and so you can make it like that. And I'm going to show you how to do it using very little, and knowing that we are eating this every 2 or 3 or months, okay, or maybe you want to eat it once or twice a year. And I'll show you how to lower the calorie density of the meal as well. But it is a fun meal to make because it's supposed to be with a lot of friends and families, like in Italian gatherings. Everybody's talking. You know how Italian talks loud, and they laugh and they cry and they curse. It's crazy. I remember those times. Usually on a Sunday. So I would never think of making gnocchi just for me. It's really a meal to share, and so it's a social type of meal. So today I'll show you how to make it with just potatoes and a little bit of flour, and then I'll also show you how to make it without flour, without any flour.
Oh, nice! Thanks.
Yeah. So that would be a way to try it. Of course, the flour adds something to the texture. And remember that this is, even though it's 80% potato or more and sunflower, and then it goes in boiling water, so the flour is absorbing water. It's not a dry starch. It's still, I think that for a once or twice a year, for at least that's my personal opinion. Unless you are, unless flour is going to trigger you to eat more flour products, I wouldn't use it. And also, there are gluten-free flours that you could use. Now, the real secret here is in the sauce. Well, I'll show you also how to make the actual gnocchi, but the sauce needs to be really good. So I make my own. So what I will suggest to people is to either, make your own if you have a really good recipe. I like my tomato sauce to have a good amount of mushrooms, but that's me. And my tomato sauce, besides tomatoes and sauteed onions and garlic, have a little bit of carrots to cut the acidity of the tomatoes, and some red bell peppers that are also sweeter. And so anyway, or you can buy your own. You can buy a already made sauce. Just make sure, of course, that it's oil-free and sodium-free. And then you can use also from Chef AJ's book here, on page 127, she has the faux Parmesan, if you want to use a plant-based Parmesan cheese. Okay, so how do we start this? Well, we start with 2 pounds of potatoes. These potatoes are about a pound each because they're large, but you could use medium size, whatever. But with 2 pounds of potatoes, you will feed for sure 4 people, maybe 6. Okay, but this is basically the ingredient, which is wonderful for a pasta. Now you can use Yukon potatoes, which is this. You can use russet potatoes, and you don't want the potatoes to absorb a lot of water, because the more water that they have or that they have absorbed, the more flour, if you're using any type of flour, it could be chickpea flour, it could be any other type of flour, you will have to put more flour. So you want to cook the potatoes in a way that they are not going to absorb water. So I wouldn't boil them, or even in the Instant Pot, I wouldn't put them directly on water. What I did, I have this little basket and I cut these potatoes in 4 or 5, 6 pieces, and with the skin on, because the skin also protects the potato so that it's not going to absorb a lot of water. And I steamed it for like, it was about 15 minutes. I want them to be really soft. So that's a little trick of, you want the potatoes to not be too wet, okay? So let's go now. What I'm going to do, AJ, is walk to my kitchen there. And if you don't mind, I'm just gonna turn off the camera so that I can move my laptop to the kitchen, and we'll start it, okay? Hold on just a minute.
Okay, no worries. I'll entertain the troops. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, the show is Dr. Micah Yu and Dr. Melissa Andala on overcoming autoimmune disease, and they're going to be specifically talking about how to overcome chronic fatigue syndrome. That will be at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And Memorial Day, we're doing 2 shows, so I hope you'll join on Monday. We have Basanto Molina at 9 a.m. She's going to talk about how she thrives on a low-fat vegan diet at the age of 81. And she has a new book called Plant-Powered Protein, along with Brenda Davis, who will be on the next day. And we have a bonus show of a brand new product that is shipped to you, and it's low-fat and vegan, and it's Indian food, and it's delicious. So those are what we have. If you want to know the lineup, just subscribe to chefaj.com. We send out an email every Saturday morning telling you who the guests are, and that gives you the opportunity to send in a question for a doctor. If you want, you can always say it's for any doctor, the first available, because we do get quite a few questions when it's medical doctors. And back to Gustavo in the kitchen.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to show you how I steamed my potatoes, and I peeled them. Now they are dry, so I saved a little bit. I saved the water from the potatoes when I cooked them, and I'm going to add some because otherwise I won't be able to form the gnocchi. And I'm going to mash it here. And the only thing that I'm going to add to this is I'm going to add a tablespoon of onion powder. It's still really dry, so I'm adding a little bit at a time. And so I'm going to add a tablespoon of onion powder and a tablespoon of garlic powder. You could just go with one of them. And I am also going to add, but this is optional now, I'm going to add a tablespoon or 2 of nutritional yeast. Okay, so I'm trying to get a creamy consistency, but not too wet. Okay, I'm trying to get it. It's getting there. I think it needs a tiny bit more water here. So I have these cute measuring spoons that have a treble clef. Isn't that nice? It was a gift.
That's very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, it is. So this is a tablespoon. I'm going to put a tablespoon of onion powder. And this is actually going on the amount of flour that I use, okay? So that is it. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about okay, so let's finish this part. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and this is optional. So there we go. I just need to make sure that there are no lumps. And while I'm doing this here, let me turn on. We need to have a big pot of boiling water, okay, to cook the gnocchi. All right, this is getting to the consistency that I think is what we're looking for. Okay, see that? It's creamy. I'm going to just give it a little try. Why are potatoes so delicious?
I don't know. They're my favorite food.
Yeah. For lunch today, I had, I think one of your favorite, AJ, was a roasted sweet potato with a lot of steamed broccoli. And
what I have for lunch every day and what I'll be having right after the show. Do you have the same kind of sweet potato as me, the white ones, the Hannah yam?
I don't have the Hannah.
Oh, that's sad.
That is sad. There is a white one, but it's not Hannah. And then there's the regular orange one. And then there's the purple one. But the Hannah, for some reason, well, I don't know. Maybe in some other parts of Argentina they have it. Where I am, they don't have it. So, okay, so let's see here. I believe, you know what? These potatoes must have been a type of potatoes that really did not have a lot of liquid to start with, so they're very dry, and I need them to be. Now this is the consistency that I'm looking for. I need them to be creamy, but you can see how it's still not very wet, but it is creamy. Now, yeah, this is it. So gnocchi come from Roman times, believe it or not. This is a very old recipe, I mean, very old meal that was eaten in Italy, even in the time of the Roman Empire. So, okay. Now, I'm going to get this out here. And I'm going to save some of this to show you how to make it without flour. So I'm going to put probably about a cup here in a bowl. I'm going to save it to show you how you can also make it without flour.
So what is the difference when you make it with or without flour in terms of how easy it is or how it tastes?
Well, first of all, when you use a little bit of flour, they get firmer so they don't fall apart. You're going to see what type of shape they have. And it seems that to me, the consistency of the actual gnocchi is more silky It's, I don't know, it's just very, I can't explain it. um, it's just more, it makes it smoother in a way, the way that it tastes. And of course, adding flour will increase the number of gnocchi that you will get out of 2 pounds of potatoes. So, and it will be a little more filling. And remember that today I'm using whole wheat flour. So I'm not using regular white flour. I have used in the past, I have combined chickpea flour with whole wheat white flour, and it works. So that's, you might want to, anybody trying this, you might want to try both ways. So like I said, to me, I don't, even though the tradition is to make it every month, I don't. Maybe that's why I'm poor, because I don't make it every 29th. But you know, for me, it's okay to use it, to use this little bit of flour, because I make it very seldom. Okay, so I just put some of the flour there, and I'm going to make you know, like a ball, like I'm going to actually make bread. And let me get it all out. What we're gonna need here is a way to make a dough that doesn't stick to my fingers. Okay, my hands are clean, everybody, so I'm just going to get some of that flour, basically so that it doesn't stick to the counter here. This is like making bread. Now, in this bowl, I have 1 cup. It looks like there's more than 1 cup, but actually I measured it. So it's, I don't think I'm gonna need a cup. The actual recipe for gnocchi is 2 pounds of potatoes and 3 cups of flour. So that's a lot of flour. And I only have 1 cup here, and I don't think I'm going to even use 1 cup. You see how it's still sticking? So that's why I am adding flour until I can get to the point where it doesn't stick to my fingers anymore. And while I do this, let me tell you why in Italy and in Argentina, it is eaten the 29th of the month. During the war in Italy, some people would not have enough money to buy food by the end of the month. They had nothing. And so potatoes was cheap, was one of the cheapest type of foods, and flour. And so they had to, the government would give them this like bonds, these pieces of paper that they can use to get food. And some of them that had large families would go through those bonds quickly, and they didn't have enough to last the whole month. So those families that were a little more well off, or maybe they were smaller families, they would make gnocchi, and they would invite these other families home. And under the plate of the gnocchi, they would put one of those little pieces of paper, so that so that they wouldn't feel oh, how could we say, so that they wouldn't feel bad that they were poor. And so they got under their plate this fake money, I guess, where they could now go to the market and buy food until they got paid, and they got paid the first of the month, okay? So when all of these Italians came to Argentina, Argentina in the early 1900s was the country where you could come and have your dreams come true. It was considered, it was supposed to be one of the big, uh, you know, countries in the world because of the richness here. So a lot of these Italians came, they started businesses. In a few years, they were wealthy. Argentina was a booming place at that point. And so when new Italian families came, they didn't have a lot of money, and they also didn't get to the end of the month. So the families that had been in Argentina for a longer time and had already established their businesses and were doing well, they would invite them at the end of the month, the 29th, they would invite them home to have gnocchi. And under the plate, guess what? There was like a 20, let's say probably something like a $20 bill, maybe, or $30 bill or something like that, so that they could also have enough food until the end of the month. And in Argentina today, gnocchi, the 29th of each month, you also put money under the plate. And that is, I think, such a cool hit story, you know, of people and immigrants helping each other as they try to, you know, to make a living in a new country. So that's the tradition now, that in order to to have enough money, you've got to eat gnocchi with money under the plate.
Well, would that work with
Alright,
other
so
foods? Because if that'll work, I'll just start putting money under every plate of food I eat and see if that works.
Well, it's supposed to be with just gnocchi, but you know, why don't we try with other types of food? That's the
Gustavo, Dina has a question if other flours like oat or millet can be used.
Well, I have actually tried a lot of things. The thing with gnocchi is that they can be kind of yucky if when you eat them, if they're grainy, if it's like you're eating sand. So some of these flours, whatever flour you use, even if it is something like what kind of flour did you say?
She wants to know if she could, and it sounds like maybe she's gluten-free, so she recommended or wants to know if she can use oat or millet.
Right. As long as it's fine like this, yes. But if it's too grainy, I don't know. I personally, I don't like it because I know what gnocchi is supposed to taste like and feel like in your mouth. So it's a very smooth kind of pasta. So I don't like the grainy type, but I think it would work. You could combine probably maybe two different types of flour. And now you saw what I did. I made this long log kind of thing, and I'm going to cut these in about the size like the tip of my finger here. And this is a truly, you can see why this is a family affair, or friends. They come over, you all start talking. One is doing one thing, one is making the logs, someone is cutting. And now, okay, everyone, now comes the real fun part of it. It can be frustrating at first until you get the hang of it. You can cook them just like this, okay? But the real gnocchi, you gotta get a fork and you put the gnocchi here, and with your thumb, you press it as it goes through the fork. Let's see if so
I'm getting pretty fast because you know, every now and then I make them. Especially I like to make these when I have company because I do portion control that way. You know, I eat a little bit to get, you know, to say that I ate some and not feel deprived in a plant-based diet, and I have my big salad to go with it, or my sauté greens and stuff like that to lower the calorie density of the food. But this is, look, I don't think I even used half a cup of flour. So look how you all see those little ridges. There you go. Those little ridges are cute. And that's where the tomato sauce gets in there also, so it doesn't slide. So I'm just going like this. You've got to press kind of hard on the gnocchi, and as you press hard, you roll them. So this is the part that takes time, but you can have 2 or 3 or 4 people doing this job while you're talking, visiting, telling jokes, or whatever it is. And this cooks really fast. Okay, so you will put this in the boiling water, and when they float up, then they're ready to be taken out. You put on the plate immediately, and you pour your delicious tomato sauce on them, and they're ready to be served. So I'm going to do one more batch here. Also, what you do with this, which is what I'm going to do today, is you can freeze them. They've uncooked. They freeze really well. So then when you have people over or a party or whatever, you just pull them out of the freezer and you put them in the water. You don't even have to defrost them. You can just put them in the water. So the water is boiling and it's ready to go. Let me just do one of this. Look how fast I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, this is takes a little time. That's why this is for a special occasion. Of course, it's easier to just make mashed potatoes and eat your mashed potatoes, but it is a meal to share with family, if you like your family, and or friends. Okay, so let me do that, and then I'm going to show you how I make the ones without flour. So let me rinse my hands here. And if anybody has any questions, go ahead, let me know.
Let's
So
see if there's any questions, please put them in the chat, and it helps if we put 4 question marks first. Dr. Deb says she loves your story about cultures and customs that grew out of the war and likes to hear stories with recipes.
yes, well, yeah, I heard these stories all the time because half of my family came from Italy, so these are very close stories, I mean, for me. Okay, so let's see.
If you only make these once a month, is it because of the difficulty in making them? And if so, would you ever consider making a big batch and just freezing them?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I mean, people make them other times of the month, and in restaurants they have it. Some restaurants have them all the time. I don't make them because I'm to the point where I just eat so simple that I don't make them that often, but I do make them maybe 2 or 3 times a year when I have friends over. Okay, so, but yeah, you can make a big batch and freeze them. Now, I don't know of another way. I've tried different ways. I just throw them in the water with my hands quickly, and I'm going to show you how in almost no time they start floating to the surface and they're ready to be taken. Oh, let's see. I'm going to move the camera so you all can see. There's one that just came up floating. So you can see how it's does have a little bit of flour, but it's getting wet. It's a wet starch right now. Do you see them floating? I
They're
can't see them.
very, very cute.
They are. It's just it's a really fun meal to make. So don't let them float too long. Take them out.
Have you ever
Put
heard
them.
of cauliflower gnocchi? They sell them at Trader Joe's.
Oh, well, they do make different kinds. Yes, I saw them at Trader Joe's. They also make sweet potato gnocchi. They make, if I had put spinach, you make spinach gnocchi. I mean, and then you can also put this in, what do you call it? Well, in like a baking dish and do baked gnocchi, which is also very delicious to have and bake as a casserole. So here is my homemade tomato sauce. It's very good. I love this tomato sauce. It has a lot of flavor, and I am just going to put the tomato sauce on this, and that's could be it. I am going to add a little bit of nutritional yeast to make it look like cheese. You could add a couple leaves of basil there. And even though I ate lunch already, I'm just gonna give it a test here.
You got to test it.
You gotta test it, yes. Mostly for the consistency. I mean, for me, that is. Mhm. Yeah, that's right. I'm surprised. Other times I've had to add more flour. I added very little, but
Have you ever thought of adding potato starch instead of flour?
well, yes, I have, and I have potato starch here, and I think I'm going to try that another time because that could be another way. It's just that we want the gnocchi to be a little bit easy to when you are making those ridges, you don't want it to fall apart. So the flour holds them together. Um, if I had added, like they add an egg, that also would add maybe hold it together, but I would never add an egg anyway. So, all right. So now here is the potato that I saved. And for these, I'm going to move my microphone here. We are not going to put them in the water. That's the difference because they don't have flour, so they would not, but I'll show you. So basically now you will do the same process. These are quite, yeah, okay. It holds together because the type of potato is not too wet, so that's probably too much. So I'm going to make this log shape in here. And yeah, wow. Sometimes this doesn't work depending on the potato or if it absorbed too much water while you were cooking it. So basically what you have here is the potato with the garlic powder and the onion powder and a little bit of that nutritional yeast. You could have put Benson's, table tasty if you wanted to add it.
Just make sure you're speaking loud and clear. Mona says, if you can move the mic closer. I think if you just speak a little louder, they'll hear you good.
Oh, okay. All right. I will.
Thanks.
Okay. So basically now I am cutting the gnocchi the same way. And maybe I could get this shape. Yeah, I can get the same. shape with the little ridges there. But this has no flour. It's just it's just the mashed potato with the the spices. It's not, the part that is fun when they float up is missing, and the consistency, it is a little bit, just a little bit too soft, but it holds together. Okay, so make sure that if you're going to use this, make these gnocchis with no flour, that you get a russet or some other, research. I can't remember the potatoes, the ones that are drier, the ones that don't hold too much water, and make sure that it is steamed and not boiled. It could even be baked potatoes that you peel and then mash it. So yeah, you can still do it. And let me see, I'm just gonna give it another little test and see if I can tell the difference here in the flavor. I think is the same, but
If nobody had them, they probably wouldn't know, right?
They probably would not know. What you get in restaurants, whether it is in any part of the world, it doesn't matter where. What you get in a lot of restaurants is gnocchi that instead of being 80% potato or 90, they are more like, 40% potato, and it's mostly flour, and they're very hard. I don't know why they do it like that, because potatoes are not that expensive anyway. But those are the ones that I don't. I don't eat those. I don't like them. Let me move while I'm talking.
Yeah, Susie says this reminds her of how her grandmother would make dumplings. She would always say they're done when they float up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, okay, I just moved here. And so, since I am, as you all know, a musician, a pianist, I thought this meal is screaming for something Italian. So I don't have something classical, although there is a lot of Italian classical music. But today I have a song, you probably all know it, O Sole Mio.
Of course. Oh, Sole Mio.
Yeah, and AJ, you can sing.
Oh, no, you don't want to hear me sing, but I do remember that song. I don't know why I know that, though.
Well, it's in so many
movies, yeah,
or commercials and things like that. And then there's another song, Torna Sorrento, and my grandmother used to play those. She also played the piano. So I thought, well, later on, if you make these gnocchi to feel really Italian, you need to find in O Sole Mio or some other Italian music to eat with it. And I'm taking Italian lessons, so I have to say, oggi si viaggi in Italia, okay?
Oh my gosh. Is there a word for vegan in Italian or just vegetarian?
Oh, AJ, I haven't gotten to that unit yet.
Okay, I'm just curious, because in some languages they don't have a word for vegan, so they have a word for vegetarian, and they put like the word pure in front of it, or yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there has to be vegetarian, and actually there is a Starch Solution group that is from Italy, and it's on Facebook, and I am a member of the group. So there has to be a word. So I'm typing it here in my translator. Oh, well, vegano.
Vegano. That should be our greeting.
If it's a man, if it's a woman, vegana.
Yeah, but now today with all the pronouns and everything, it's crazy. So we need.
Who knows what it is now? Well,
But I like that. Hey, vegano.
I attualmente studio italiano, and you always
Italian,
have to
so
move
I
with-
love hearing Italian. It's just I love it the way it sounds. I hear
love
people
it.
speak
I
it.
love it. So anyway, the word today is oggi. Oggi is today. Si viaggia, we travel. Oggi si viaggia. Today we travel in Italia, Italy. Today we travel to Italy. Okay. Oggi si viaggia in Italia. Anyways, let's do a little bit of. I hope that you will all try it and maybe experiment with other types of flour that will hold the gnocchi together, or even the ones that I made. The ones that I made without flour actually taste just fine, but I can tell that that there's something missing in the consistency, because I know. But you could try it, and if you all have any questions, send me an email. My email is in the notes, right? Okay.
I'll check. We'll check right now. You put your website, YouTube, Facebook, and your music website.
Okay. Well, from the website, people can email me, actually. Let me put this computer here next to the piano.
See, you guys get dinner and a show with this.
You get dinner and a show, yeah. This show always takes a little bit more time, because I wish I had
Two computers.
well, I do have, but I don't know how. I haven't figured out how to do two computers here in Zoom. But
I can teach you, because we have some people that do that. I mean, we have certain shows where they do that. And two, like, for example, when the physical therapist comes on, she has to do two different things, because one is in her gym where she's doing the exercises, and one is where she's doing the PowerPoint. So we can find out if you're interested.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I don't know how to do that, so
I'm sure we can help you.
that would make it easier. Or I would just have to move this piano to the kitchen, and so I can play while I cook.
Or how about this? What about using your phone for the piano and your tablet or laptop for the kitchen?
Right, because I have a tablet, a phone, and my laptop.
That's what Eileen does. So all you need is two different devices, and then we keep one on mute while you're doing one room, and then we change it.
Okay, well, for next time, hopefully I will have learned how to do that.
That's okay. We don't mind hanging out with you.
Well, okay, so here you go, guys. I'm gonna play a little bit of O Sole Mio, and see if we feel the Italian blood coming through here.
Bellissimo. Is that a word?
Oh, very good. Molto bene, bellissimo.
You know, it's a little bit sad, the song, depending on the tempo, you know?
It is. It can be sad. I actually don't recall the words to it. I know it has words, but I can't
remember. Anyway, look at this. This is a score that my grandmother brought, from Italy, and it's so old that it's falling apart. It's like that is that brown color. This is a very traditional song in Italy. It's called Torna a Sorriento, and it has words as well. I'll just play a little bit also so you all can hear. It's a very pretty melody.
Bravo, bravo.
Bravissimo.
Bravissimo. That is so fun. How many hours a day are you practicing these days?
Well, it really depends. Like when I have a concert coming up, like I did last week, then I've got to get 2 or 3 hours. And if not, there are days like today that I didn't practice. But yeah, it's 3 hours or so. When I was studying and I was getting all my repertoire and technique, it was more like 6 hours a day. But yeah.
Don't your fingers get tired?
No, they never get tired. No. That's part of having a teacher that will teach you a good technique of your wrist and your shoulder and your arm so that you can play for, countless hours and it won't get,
That's
but
amazing.
if you're
Stephanie
playing-
wants to make sure you turned off the stove.
It is off, yes.
Oh.
Otherwise, I'll probably be smelling it now. Yeah, I turned it off. Thank you for reminding me.
Nice. Well, people really enjoy this dinner and music.
I hope you all make it. Try to not buy them in the store. You might get disappointed. I don't know if they will tell you the percentage of potato and flour. I have never found in a store a good gnocchi. They are hard, like no matter how long you cook them, they don't taste like potato. In this that I made, you actually taste the potato. So try to make it yourself.
Great. Well, thank you. This was a lot of fun, Gustavo.
Yeah, it's always fun to cook for you all. So guess I'll see you. Oh, next Friday, I'm going to be on an airplane to Dallas. So
You're kidding. What are you going to do there?
Well, I mean, I still have my other half of my life there. I have a double life. So no, well, my music school is still functioning, and I go, and there are exams and recitals to attend, and then I'm going to North Carolina to visit my daughters, and then back to Texas. I have a sister. I have a lot of people that I.
Wow. What's the logo on your jacket?
I bought this well, I wish, I mean, this is an ad from an expense. I brought this at Target.
No, I thought maybe it was a school logo or something.
No, I don't remember. I like the colors.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But do you have Target in Argentina?
No, no. A few months ago, when I was in North Carolina, I went to a Target store and I got it there.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. It's very nice. Any ideas what you're going to do next month?
I don't. I don't. I've been wanting to try a, a potato, 100% potato-based dough to make pizza.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
With sun-dried tomatoes and other delicious toppings. Not too many toppings because then I don't know, but a few really good toppings like sun-dried tomatoes and maybe mushrooms for those who like mushroom and add something else. But I really need to experiment more because that would be. I love pizza. I guess almost everybody.
Yeah, that sounds really good if you can manage it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try that, and if it works, I will share that with you. You all have, I mean, I think you also have a very good recipe for potato-based cheese, right? Like if what do you call it? The cheese that like.
Yeah, I've got to. I probably in one of my books. I don't know if I wrote it. If you do end up making pizza, maybe the song can be "When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie." That's amore.
Maybe we can include that. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Well, thanks, Gustavo. Always great catching up with you.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, take care. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time when my guests are Dr. Micah Yu and Dr. Melissa Mandala. They teach you how to overcome autoimmune diseases. And tomorrow they're specifically talking about overcoming chronic fatigue syndrome. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe because I'm close to 200,000 and I'd love to get there with you.